Please come in and take your seats. There's the town manager. You Mark just got here. Okay. That's true. That's true. All right, please take your seats. We're going to start momentarily. What's that? Okay. All right, the time is now 7:05. Let's start. Today is Monday, May 19th. I now call to order the fifth session of the 2025 Annual Town Meeting for the Town of Stoughton. This meeting is now in session. As you know, this meeting is being held in person at the Stoughton High School Auditorium at 232 Pearl Street in Stoughton. This meeting is also being broadcast live through Stoughton Media Access Corporation and is being recorded for future broadcasting. Please rise and stand as you are able and join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Please be seated. All right, over the last several meetings, I introduced all our officials, and this evening, Town Council is Attorney Brian Winter from the law firm of Mead, Tallerman, and Acosta. He was here last Wednesday for us, right? All right, hopefully this is the last evening for town meeting. So, but it's up to this body, so I'm praying that we keep it to this evening only. I'm assuming all town meeting reps have been sworn in. Okay, next. I'm going to take attendance first, then we're going to have one announcement. So let me call out the precinct chairs and we'll get their attendance. Precinct 1, Juan Fox. 11, Precinct 1. George Stalinsky, Precinct 2.
18.
18 for Precinct 2. Matt Callis, Precinct 3. 18 for Precinct 3. Julie Gito, Precinct 4. 18 for Precinct 4. Dex Lanson, Vice Chair, Precinct 5. 13, Precinct 5. Bob Kirby, Precinct 6. 14, Precinct 6. Becca Moxton for Precinct 7. 16, Precinct 7. David Sheehan for Precinct 8. 12, thank you, Karen, for Precinct 8. 12. Let's take a moment to give a tally. We have 120 town meeting reps this evening, so that's enough for the quorum, which is 85. So we will proceed with our business at hand. Okay, we have an announcement by Roberta Harback.
Hi, everybody. Roberta Harback, Precinct 7. I am hoping that I can collect your town meeting books to make a bigger, better, and brighter Christmas tree for the town hall this Christmas time. Thank you very much. There's 3 bins outside, and we'll collect them tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta Harback. All right, as you all know, the first order of our business, as always, is to test our clickers. Let me know when we're ready. Okay, ready? Please vote now. 1, 2, or 3. Okay. All right, everybody voted. Anybody have any problems with their clickers? Seeing none, let's move on.
Point of order, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, Jess Minor, yep.
Hi, Jess Minor, Precinct 5. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules, for the procedural rules, to ensure that we complete all of our business tonight and stay as late as we need to in order to do that for both the annual and the special.
Let me take that up in a couple of minutes, okay?
Okay.
Just stay right where you are.
will.
We'll
Okay.
come right back to you, Jess. Thank you. I just want to say a couple notes here. Obviously, Jess just mentioned procedure motions. They were all moved and voted on Monday, May 5th, remain in effect. Maybe something will change this evening. And the other thing is, well, why don't you make your motion tonight? I don't think it matters. We can do it now. I'm sorry, Jess, go ahead. You want to make a motion to,
I move that we suspend the rules so that we stay past 10:30.
beyond
if needed.
10:30? Okay, Jess Minor made a motion to suspend the rules for the point of going beyond 10:30 this evening. It was seconded by John Inzavino. I'm going to ask for a voice vote. All those in, Jess, did you have something else you want to add?
I just wanted to clarify that if that could apply both to the annual and the special.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So for this evening, for the special and your annual.
Correct.
We having problems with that, Mr. Town Council? Oh, okay, so that motion's on the floor. It's been seconded by John Anzavino. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. Aye. I believe it passed overwhelmingly by 2/3. I declare that a vote. Okay, just a couple other points here. On Wednesday, May 14th, can I just have everybody's attention, please? We'll get right through this. On Wednesday, May 14th, we completed all the way up to Article 47, the charter changes. Now, let me just tell you what the game plan is for this evening. The next article up is 48. That's on page 69. That's the senior tax deferral program. Then we'll move on to Article 49, the tax repayment program, and then we'll move on to Article 50, the petitioner's article. Then after that, I'll repeat this as we move along, but after that, we'll take up Article 45, which is the wetlands bylaw. That was postponed to the end of the annual town meeting. So after Article 50, we'll be at the end of the annual town meeting, so we'll take up Article 45, which was postponed, and then we'll talk about reconsideration after Article 45. There may be some a motion or motions for reconsideration. Then obviously we'll dissolve the annual town meeting and we'll resume the special. Okay, but right now, let's get to the end of the annual first. All right, so at this point in time, I'm going to ask you to turn to page 69, which is Article 48, Senior Tax Deferral Program. 48, and let me just look at who I have. Deborah Roberts, did you want to make that motion for us?
That the town vote pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A2, to adopt a higher maximum qualifying gross receipts equal to the amount of income determined by the Commissioner of Revenue for GLC 62, Section 6K, the senior tax circuit breaker, not exceeding the amount of income determined by the Commissioner of Revenue for a single person who is not head of household, to be effective for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Seconded by Elliot Hansen. Can I have the Finance Committee reports, please? Did everybody hear that? Okay, the microphone.
Mic's on. You want me to talk
Yeah,
really
it's
loud?
much better. Thank you.
Finance Committee voted 12-0 to accept and recommend to town meeting Article 48 as written in the warrant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nokian. I'll read the intergovernmental relations. Voted 7-0 to refer Article 48 to town meeting. Committee had no information at the time on the article. And the Municipal Regulations Committee voted 8-0 to approve and recommend the town meeting Article 48 as written in the warrants. Okay, for the presentation, Elizabeth Zaleski.
Moderator to the body. This is simply the ability for seniors to be able to apply to have their taxes deferred for a period of time. I'm just going to give you a little write-up that we received. Okay, you're welcome. Can you hear me way up back? Okay. Clause 41 is the deferral of taxes, while in deferral, outstanding balances grew at 4% interest. Deferred taxes are to be paid at the time of sale of the property or the date of death of the owner. If not paid at the time of death, from that point forward, the outstanding balance accrues at 16%. The average tax bill in Stoughton has increased 15% over the last 5 years. The goal is to enable seniors to stay in the homes as long as possible. With an average tax bill of $6,818, it is a 34% of gross income allowed under Clause 41 without any other expenses allotted for. This clause does not exempt seniors from the taxes. It enables them to stay in the homes while the town will receive their tax money at a later date. There's certain requirements that go with it. If this passes, your applications would be due by April 1st. You have to provide birth certificates, evidence of ownership, tax returns. You must be 65 and older. And then there's a few other issues here. Your gross income at this point in time for the previous calendar year cannot exceed $20,000 if you're married. So there are a lot of rules involved in this, but currently the average Social Security check is roughly $22,000 for people who are on Social Security in the town of Stoughton. So we're doing the best we can to defer your tax payments to a later date so you don't have to pay real estate and give you a little bit more money in your pocket until you sell your home. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Biz. All right, time for technical questions. Any technical questions? We need a microphone for Mr. Scardino. Just a moment, please. When you get the microphone, can you identify yourself?
Thank you. Joe Scardino, Precinct 1. Through you, Mr. Moderator, to the head of the Finance Department in town. If the Commonwealth raises the income limits, will we have to come back and reapprove the Commonwealth's increase, or will this provision work automatically?
If the law changes, I believe, and we would verify if and when the law changes, that we do not have to come back, we will verify that. But it's up to the state. If they want us to come back and re-verify, we'll have to. It's an unknown at this point.
Thank you.
All set? Thank you both. Marina, could you identify yourself, please? It's not working. Yep.
Assistance is on its way.
Okay, someone's coming to help you. Oh, okay. At this time, make sure you silence your phones. We'll take a moment to silence your phones.
Marina Ryans, Precinct 7. Does this apply for a new upcoming debt exclusion that we're going to get for South School?
This has got nothing to do with debt exclusion. This strictly has to do with seniors who are in need of financial assistance. It's not due to the school, it's not due to anything. This is what law allows us to do for the benefit of senior citizens in town. Deferment applies to, if your question, thank you for the clarification, Mr. Calder. The deferment applies to all of your taxes. So if your tax bill on a single-family home is $6,818, and that includes your assessments for debt exclusion as well as regular taxation, yes, it does apply. What it does not apply to is CPA.
What about the two other existing debt exclusion? We're paying for high school for another 13 years, and we're paying for fire station for another 27 years. Will it include it?
I believe I have just answered that question. It includes all taxation that is due.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Next, Mr. Feinberg. Identify yourself, please.
Arnie Feinberg, Precinct 6. When the taxes are deferred, how long is it being deferred for?
It's an agreement that comes into play as per the Mass General Law 59.5, and that deferral in some cases, for those who can't hear me, it will go until the home is sold, or until the party can pay the bill, or until death. And death, if somebody else acquires the property, not via sale, but is left to a family member, then it goes away.
Is there interest on that deferral?
Yes, as previously stated at the beginning of the conversation, deferrals at this time are at 4% interest.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Anybody else for technical questions? Seeing none, let's go on to pro and con debate. Anybody from pro and con debate? Seeing none. All right, let's go to the vote. Let me know when we're ready. Please vote now. 1, 2, or 3, simple majority. Okay, Article 48 passes, 114 yes, 4 no, 2 abstentions. Thank you all for voting. Let's move on. Next page, page 70. Next up is Article 49, Tax Repayment Program. Mr. Nokian, can I have a motion, please? This going to be this.
Finance Committee voted 13-0 to refer Article 49 to town meeting. We were told during the public hearing this article would be withdrawn.
You're correct. I believe it's going to be dismissed. Mr. Tisdale? This is going to be dismissed?
Yeah, we're dismissing this article. The article needs some clarifications and needs to be perfected a little better before we bring it back at a future town meeting.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion to dismiss?
Excuse me, point of order.
What's your point of order, sir? Identify yourself, please.
Did you need someone to read the motion before we took these actions or not? That's all. Simple question.
No, I asked town council, and nope, motion to dismiss was made. Who made that motion for the record? George Stalinsky? Who seconded it? Carolyn Campbell. For the record, George Stalinsky made the motion to dismiss. Carolyn Campbell seconded that motion. Okay, I'm going to ask for we can do a voice vote. Or do you have it up? No, I'll just ask for a voice vote just to move along. This is a voice vote for dismiss Article 49. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, unanimous. Thank you. All right, this time we're going to look at Article 50, the bottom of the page. Is Mr. Lezzo here? Lezzo, are you here? Okay, he's the petitioner. I don't see him here. I'm going to ask for a motion to dismiss on this. Second. Who made the motion?
Make a motion to dismiss.
Bob Cohn and George Stalinsky for the second. By voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Abstentions? Okay, I declare that a vote. In the affirmative. Okay, now, Article 45 was moved previously to postpone it to the end of town meeting, and we're at the end of town meeting. Jerry McDonald, I recognize you for the motion.
Mr. Moderator, Jerry McDonald, Precinct 4, Chairman of the Conservation Commission. On Article 45, I move to see if the town will vote to amend Chapter 191, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw, May 5th, 1997, as amended through May 26, 2020, as set forth with text to be inserted, shown in bold underlining, text to be deleted, shown in bold strike-through, as set forth in the attached document, 2025 proposed amendments to Wetland Bylaw, Chapter 191, revised.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Carol Campbell. I'm going to read the municipal regulations report, and then I'll ask Mr. Nokian to make a couple of comments. Municipal regulations report voted 8-0-0 to approve and recommend the town meeting Article 45 as written in the warrant. Mr. Nokian, go ahead, sir. It's not working. I don't think the microphone's working. If you can carry a couple of tunes. Here comes someone to help you. Okay.
It's true. It's never stopped me before, though. Mr. Moderator, I would like to ask if the maker of the motion would be willing to accept a friendly amendment on Section 191-5, Section I. There's a reference to the Board of Selectmen. I would ask that we could change that to Select Board, if that would be all right for a friendly amendment.
I'll accept that as a friendly
Okay.
amendment.
Is there a seconded by Elliot Hansen? Any other amendments?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. All right. So at this point in time, Jerry, would you like to do a presentation?
Very, very quickly, I might defer to Mr. Tisdale. This is an update on our bylaw. We had to table it first time around. The new document is on the table, is on the virtual table, making the changes and clarifying the bold underline to be inserted in the bold strikeout. That was not in the original book. So that's the change that brought us back here tonight. The reason for the bylaw update is just a couple of things. It's generally a cleanup document. It helps make the bylaw consistent with our regulations, and it's going to be administratively more effective for the town to administer this bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And just for those people, the amended bylaw was out on the table, the moderator's table. All right, it was also on the webpage. Mr. Tisdale, go ahead with your presentation.
Yeah, I think Mr. McDonald did a great job at that. Just got a couple of things to add. Mark Tisdale, Assistant Town Manager. Again, it's just a housekeeping item. We already have a wetlands bylaw. They're bringing the bylaw more up to current standards. For example, they're increasing the maximum fees for consultants for peer reviews. Obviously, engineers are very expensive these days, and they charge more money than when this bylaw was written. Also, they're revising the way notifications are for abutters, allowing the United States Postal Service as a means and method of doing that. On page 12, they're allowing permits to be extended from 3 to 5 years based on the type of permit, as opposed to right now it's 1 year. The last change is to clarify some of the violations, the process to violations when somebody gets a fine and things of that nature, and that's on page 14. That's it.
You're all set? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. All right, this is on the amended wetland bylaw motion there. Any technical questions? Seeing none, pro and con debate? Seeing none? Okay. This is a general bylaw. It's a simple majority. Are we ready to vote? Please vote now, 1, 2, or 3. Not working? We did test the clickers. Yeah, we're beyond that. Okay. Are they working? Okay, they're doing well. Just checking in with you. Okay, Article 45 passes, 116 yes, 4 no, and 2 abstentions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so now, my understanding is we might have a reconsideration. John Anzavino, I recognize you.
John Anzavino, Precinct 4. Mr. Moderator, I move to reconsider Article 44 to allow the new rep who is a little late getting an amended motion in to at least be able to present and be heard.
Who seconded that? Jim Guerin? Okay, Jim Guerin seconded that. Okay, so we're going to reconsider Article 44. That's the noise bylaw. That is on page
64.
64. Thank you very much. Yep, we have to first take a vote on the reconsideration. Simple majority. I know do we have that? Okay, just take a moment. We're going to take a vote on this by the clickers once we're ready for it. We're ready. Now, this is a simple majority to reconsider Article 44. All those in favor, press 1, 2, or 3. Passes. Okay, motion passes, 69 yes, 50 no, 2 abstentions. All right, just let me take a moment to explain what we just did. To reconsider an article has to be made, the maker of the motion has to be on the prevailing side. Prevailing side means if it passed, if that original article passed, that means you had voted yes. If the original article failed, like in this case, the original article did fail, you have to be on the prevailing side, which was the no side. So, Mr. Anzavino, if you don't mind me saying, you were on the no side, so that's why he was able to make that motion to reconsider that article.
Thank you.
We all clear on that? That's pretty straightforward. Prevailing side does change depending upon which way the original vote went. All right, so at this point in time, Article 44 is back on the floor. I'm going to first recognize Piper Slowinski. Did I pronounce that right? I got it? Thank you.
Nailed it, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Piper Slowinski, Precinct 7. I'd like to motion to amend Article 44 per the text I submitted on Tuesday.
Right. Okay, motion to amend Article 44 as it was submitted and now it's on time. It was out on the table the other night. It's on the virtual table since over the weekend and even tonight. Is there a second on that? Seconded by Carolyn Campbell. 1 second, please. Let me just make a note. This is the amendment. Okay. I'm just getting clarification from town council. This is the only motion on the floor right now, the main motion. This is the main motion. Mr. Murphy, did you have a point of order, or what's your point?
Peter Murphy, Precinct 2, point of order. Is this the amended 44, the amendment I made included into it passed? Or is this going back to the original?
Good point. Let me explain that. Your amendment, even though it passed to become an amended main motion, the actual amended main motion failed. So it's all wiped out.
We're back to square one.
Yeah, we put the Article 44 back on the table this evening, which was the noise bylaw, and then it was just amended now. So
Okay.
now, no, I'm just trying to explain, because other people probably have the same questions. This becomes now, we have to discuss it if we want to. Motion was made in second, and now it's the main motion as amended. Did I get that right? Okay, it's a little tricky for all of us, trying to get those words out correctly. All right, Piper, are you okay now?
Right, so it goes back to his,
Back to Piper.
okay, thank you.
Everybody good with that? We're just taking a little slow tonight because I know we did a reconsideration, okay? Piper, did you want to explain a little more?
Certainly. Thanks, Mr. Moderator. So my amended motion, there were a couple amended motions on the virtual table. I just want to be clear which one mine was. It was the one that had a bunch of whereases in the front, kind of explaining the rationale behind it. The intent behind this was to simply, as we saw in the debate on Wednesday night, there seemed to be a large concern in the body about the main motion being vague and being possibly interpreted differently based on which officer is called out to the scene. In an attempt to create something more fair, create something that will allow for being less open to interpretation, added into the main motion definitions of how to define the term plainly audible and what noise injury is, tying them to different decibel levels. This is tying noise bylaws and noise ordinances to decibel levels is something relatively common among the Massachusetts state's noise ordinances, so what there are of them, are tied back to decibel levels. Our neighbors Brockton, I took this idea and the specific decibel levels recommended in this article, or put in this article, took them from legislation passed by our neighbors in the city of Brockton a few years ago. So these weren't necessarily picked from thin air. They were pulled from legislation that has already been passed in a neighboring municipality. Also took cues from Mr. Murphy's amendment that adjusted the time extended the time from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., I believe, in the motion to later in the evening, and also adjusted the fines down to kind of be a little different, but very similar in the same kind of idea, wanting to reduce the ideas, taking a lot of cues from Mr. Murphy's amendment as well. I'm open to questions, but that is the main intent behind it, to create something, not trying to recreate the wheel, using an approach used in a neighboring municipality to make something more fair and make easier, less open to interpretation.
Okay, thank you very much, Piper, for the presentation. Now, just to let everybody know, the whole motion couldn't fit on the screen, so Reggie will show as much as we can of it. So you can scroll down a little bit if someone asks. Okay, so now we're at technical questions. Mr. Murphy?
Gator Murphy, Precinct 2. First technical question was, in your amended bylaw, I agree with it 97%. The only question I have, not the only, but the main question I have, has this been run through the police chief in regards to the decibel level and the enforcement of the decibel level?
Okay, if we can have an answer.
My understanding, I haven't had a chance to talk with the chief of police about this and run through it, based on the proceedings here. That said, I imagine, yes, this would be enforced in the bylaw by the police department, and I believe the building commissioner would be the ones enforcing this, and that would be tying any violations of it would have to be tied back to a documented decibel recording.
You have a second question, Mr. Murphy?
Quick comment. Let's not throw
No comments.
Okay.
Question
Can I do a
time.
point of order? Can we move that screen up? I see the whereases, but I want to see what the
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, we can move it up to
What this is.
maybe some of the red lines. Let me know when you want to stop. Keep going. Go back the other way. Okay, we good? All right, we can scroll up and down a little bit. Mr. Feinberg, I think you were next. You have a technical question?
Could you scroll down to the penalty phase of the penalties?
Okay, we're gonna scroll down to where the penalties are right now. Just give it a moment. I think that's the penalty. Is that okay? Everybody see that? Okay, you're all set, Mr. Feinberg. Okay. Lisa Lyons, you're up next.
Hi, Lisa Lyons, Precinct 2. I don't know, maybe an officer could answer this question for me. Currently, right now, what mechanism does Stoughton have on the books that would allow an officer to go to try to control the noise that a neighbor is disturbing another neighbor?
All right, let's see if we have an answer for that. The deputy like to, he's making his way down to the microphone.
Deputy.
Might take a moment to be active.
There we go. Deputy Chief O'Connor. So there's some town bylaws and mass general laws that help us enforce that stuff. From disorderly conduct, disturbing the peace, keepers of a noisy household is also a criminal charge that we have used in the past for problem housing that we're going to over and over and over again. Generally, most officers go and deal with the issue, and the average resident abides by it. But obviously, we have some problem houses that we have over the years, and sometimes those methods are used from holding the homeowner accountable with those charges, or if it's not necessarily the homeowner, let's just say it's his 21-year-old son, holding them accountable for it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Any other questions, Lisa? Okay, next up, I'll come to you and Ian in a minute. Carolyn Campbell, identify yourself, please.
Hi, Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4. I have, I guess, two questions. First, I believe the bylaw says that the people enforcing it will have decibel meters that are calibrated. How much are those, and do we have those, or would people have to purchase those?
Let's see if we have an answer for that. Would that be up to the police department? Deputy Chief? I'm sorry, I have to ask you to come back to the microphone. Could you repeat your question, Carolyn?
I'm sorry.
The bylaw says that it's documented evidence is through use of a properly calibrated sound level meter reading to establish a violation. So do we have those? What would we have to do to get them, or, what is that?
So we do not currently have any decibel meters. I have no idea what they would cost. We'd have to research that and determine that. And then also calibrating them, I'm not sure what the process is or who does that to calibrate them at this time. That would all be part of research if we were forced and had to do this by the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. And I guess my second question is, when the police enforce, this would be a civil violation, not criminal violation, if someone violated this noise bylaw?
That's correct.
So it's not, you'd be enforcing it, but it's not the same burden as proving, disturbing the police or a criminal charge.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Next up is Ian Turlin. Identify yourself, please.
Ian Turlin, Precinct 2. So I have a question. I know federal law requires the train to sound their horn, I think, at least 4 times for every crossing, up to a maximum of 110 decibels. And since the trains run after 8:30, would any train horn that exceeds 110 decibels be in violation of this bylaw?
Let's see if we can get that answer for you. Town council, would you be able to answer that? Would you know that? Piper, would you be able to answer that for him?
Yes, no, just to clarify, this is a question about the main motion, as opposed to like the amendment. The amendment as written does not impact any of the exemptions listed in the main motion. So if there are questions or challenges about the main motion, definitely about what is exempt or not exempt in the main motion, feel free to bring that up you can vote for this and also then vote for or against the main motion afterwards if you still have challenges or questions about the exemptions. It does say that there are exemptions for the existence of an emergency or the emission of sound, performance of emergency work or in training exercises related to emergency activities, in the performance and in the performance of public safety activities.
Piper, let me just clarify something, what you said.
Yeah.
Yours is the main motion now on the floor.
Okay, yes.
That's the
this
main
is
motion
the
as
amendments, yes. And
Yeah,
this
yours is the main motion as amended.
valid. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
whatever you
Moderator.
have in there, that's what's on the floor, just for clarification. Do you have a point of order, Carolyn?
Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4, just because I've gotten confused now. So this bylaw proposal amendment plus the original main motion that's in the warrant book is what's on the floor currently?
No. What's on the, what you can see on the screen and what Piper has, that's the motion before the body now. That's the main motion as amended.
So this is to replace what's in there, not,
Correct.
so this is replacing, so if it's not in this motion right now, it's not before us.
That is correct. It was amended, the warrant, the motion in the book was amended with this article here, this motion, I should say. Everybody clear on that? Okay, Ian, did you have a question?
Well, I just don't feel like I heard an answer to my question because I do understand the safety exemption, but my question was specifically the federal law sets a minimum of, I think it's 96 decibels and a maximum of 110. So the question is if the train exceeds the maximum volume set forth in the federal law, would they be in violation of this, this bylaw and then, potentially be subject to fines?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll ask town council if he can respond to that.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, through you to the speaker, there are exceptions in here for public safety, as was just recited by the maker of the motion. Emergency activities and activities in the performance of public safety activities, the signalization of those crossings, I would think is a public safety activity that would be exempt. Second of all, I would venture a guess that it is not going to be the police department's intent to issue fines to the MBTA or anyone else acting under federal jurisdiction or state jurisdiction. That's not the intent of this bylaw, to control noise ordinances or noise offenses and nuisances in town. So I don't think that would be a situation that would be very likely in any event.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Next up is Elliot Hanson. Please identify yourself.
Elliot Hanson, Precinct 1. A couple things here. I'm not sure those numbers, the decibel numbers that they're quoted from OSHA. The OSHA regulations specify continuous noise level, weighting, A, B, and C, impact noise levels, and the time of listening to them, the compressed time. So there may be there's a lot of merit, I think, to this thing, but I think it needs a little bit more refinement.
Okay, do you have a question?
One other question, does it include motor vehicles?
Does it include motor vehicles? Piper? I don't know if you can answer that.
Yeah, no, glad. So the amended text that I made, as I stated earlier, the amended text that I made to the motion, Article 44, that's in the warrant. I did not touch in the amended text at all what is or is not fall under the jurisdiction of this. I do believe that under 137-4 restrictions, that
car noises and the uses of cars would fall under it potentially. That is my understanding.
Okay, she answered it the best she could. Thank you. Thank you both. Marina?
Marina Ryans, precinct 7. Can we simplify the violation process to somebody violated the noise, they caught on the act, $300, like in Boston. I'll tell you, it cuts a lot of time and strains on police. I'll tell you, after 300, nobody violates anything, ever.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we can, well, the motion's on the floor, so. Lisa, you already asked questions.
Don't we get two?
You had your chance to ask both of them, so I'm gonna
Can
rule
I
you out
ask
of order.
a second question?
What?
I'm gonna rule you out of order. Did you have a second question, Marina? Yeah, let me just clarify to everybody. You get in line once, we're not gonna go in line twice, 3 times. You have 2 questions. When you're in line, ask those 2 questions.
Somebody brought up something that made me remember my second question.
Okay, well, you can ask somebody else to ask the question for you then.
Oh, that's silly, Bob.
Thank you very much. Marina, you have a second question?
What happens if police arrives on the phone call and, the situation doesn't exist anymore? Is this a fraud? Is this just, imagine how many phone calls and situation doesn't exist, noise doesn't exist anymore. What's going to happen?
Okay, I don't know if we really need to answer that, but Deputy Chief, do you want to take a stab at that?
It's the same now. If we get called there for a noise complaint and there's no noise, there's no action that needs to be taken, except for maybe a verbal advisement that, hey, we're getting these complaints, and go from there.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. All right. Anybody else? Please, we'll move on. Mr. Murphy, you already asked a question, right?
I thought you were switching.
You what?
I thought you were going pro-con.
Okay. We can do, okay, no other technical questions?
Pro-con.
Pro-con, okay, let's move the pro and con. Excuse me,
question.
did you have a question? Okay.
Lester Davis, Precinct 3. I still didn't hear the answer exactly in reference to motor vehicles or motorcycles for loud noise and for radio. Can someone answer that?
Presenter of the motion, Piper?
Yes, one in section 137-4 restrictions, Article A, underneath that, at the very end of that, or in the use of any device to amplify the aforesaid noises where the noise is plainly audible at a distance of 150 feet from the building, structure, vehicle, or premise in which or from it is produced. So vehicles producing noise emanating from a vehicle would be covered.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you both. Okay, pro and con debate. Mr. Murphy, you first.
Peter Murphy, Precinct 2. First of all, like I said, I'm 97% in favor of this, and the issue is the decibels and the enforcement of that, or the police having the equipment to do that. With that said, this article, the original one, has gone on since last July. I have met with the town the town manager. I met with...
Do you have a question regarding this motion on the floor? Excuse me, pro and con debate on the motion on the floor.
I thought...
Well, you're kind of bringing in all kinds of different things here.
Well, isn't that what pro-con debate is?
Well, but you're kind of going outside the scope here. You're talking about some other
Well,
motion.
that's what I'm getting to, this here.
Okay, well,
It's
Mr. Murphy.
it took the original, it made a few changes to it, so it's still that same original motion with some amendments to it. That's what I'm addressing here.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
All right. Did that take off my time?
I'm sorry, you have
Anyways,
plenty of time.
I'm gonna get to the point. The thing is, this has gone through legal counsel, it's gone through the enforcement officer, it's gone through the town manager. It has gone through everybody, it's been vetted very well. And what happens is, with that, they crafted a very good article. But with the changes here, I agree with them. What I don't want to see happen, like the other night, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Please, and I ask you, please approve this for the fact that the town deserves something better than nothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up, Pat Colburn.
Pat Colburn, Precinct 4. I'm in favor of this motion, and I applaud the maker of the amendment. One of the reasons I believe it failed is there weren't enough details, and now the details are here. And I know some people were concerned about it being used as a retaliatory thing. I guess I don't see that happening, but if you've ever had horrendous neighbors who have pool parties till 3 in the morning, and the police say they can't do anything, or lighting off fireworks at 2 in the morning, and the police saying they can't do anything, this is a good place to start. So I'm all for this, and I think that the police is savvy enough if somebody's using it to retaliate against neighbors. I think they'll kind of get a little note that they're a problem house. So I hope you'll vote for this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up, I have Davina. Please identify yourself, please.
Davina Owens, Precinct 4. A very quick story, and I am for this amendment. The issues that we've had in our neighborhood have dealt with rental of property for pool parties, and we have had to repeatedly call the police department, and every single time they come, they tell us there's nothing they can do. And it's 1 in the morning, and my kids can't sleep, and the decibel meter on my phone app, which is not a calibrated app, but it's something, we're over 80 decibels in my house, in my kid's bedroom, and there's nothing the police department could do. So we need something on the books. I, like Mr. Murphy, don't agree with all of what is in this amendment. I think we do have questions in this town about how that's going to be enforceable, because we don't have the proper equipment necessary, nor do we have the funding set up to do that. But maybe we will address that at our next town meeting. I personally don't want to go into another summer without a noise ordinance in this town, so I urge you to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right. Mr. Ed DeFelice, you're on the con side? Go ahead, identify yourself, please.
Ed DeFelice, Precinct 6. I have to disagree with a previous speaker that said this proposal was well vetted. In my opinion, it wasn't vetted at all. If it was, it would meet certain standards. And to do that, to measure, to measure noise levels efficiently, you need to use the appropriate instrument methods or standards. And as was, I think, alluded to, the most common instrument for noise measurement is a sound level meter. It measures the sound pressure level in decibels. Also, if you don't have a scientific basis for this law, it's going to be useless, because a smart person is going to say, well, let me see your meter. What meter? So the point is, this is going to be looked at again. I also want to mention that for residential environments, the accepted violation would be any noise exceeding 70 decibels. Let's see, someone mentioned OSHA. OSHA accepted is 90 dBA. So it does vary. It talks about, this is kind of cool, yelling. Yelling could go to the level of 80 to 120 dB. Excessive noise levels are usually 85 dB. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, there's a lot of detail that should be in this, because if you ever had to go to court with that thing, I think you'd be thrown out in 5 minutes, because it has no scientific basis. It doesn't tell you how you measure it, and there is a way of measuring it. We talked a little bit about it. We know we don't have the meters. We can get them at some point in time. But this thing, I can't believe that you folks think it's ready. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, don't forget, we kind of discussed this, a couple nights ago. So, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of the same information, but next up is Bob Cohn.
Bob Cohn, Precinct 5. We have something here that someone worked on. It comes from Brockton, Massachusetts, 2 miles down the road. We don't have equipment? Get it. We're the governing body here, and if you have neighbors in your neighborhood that God knows makes all kinds of noise, at least we have something. The person worked very hard on this, and I'm all in favor. We can always come back and modify this, but we call the police and they don't have anything. I support this, and I thank the person that did it. You did a great job.
All right, thank you very much. John Rock, you're next.
Hi, John Rock, Precinct 3. I'm in favor of this. I understand that some people think it's unneeded regulations, and they may have a point, but I'm really in favor of this as providing guidelines for the police department. And can I ask the deputy chief?
No more questions at this point, just pro and con.
Okay, well, it seemed like the chief was somewhat in favor of this when she spoke the other day, because it provides some guidelines. And I'm assuming that this town meeting is exempt from the noise provisions, but I just want to say that I'm strongly in favor of this.
Thank you very much for your comments. Carolyn Campbell, did you have pro and con?
I was going to move the previous question.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Just let me just make a note here.
I don't know if this works.
Seconded by Johnny and Zavino. Okay, we heard a lot of pro and con. All right, I'm going to take it by, can I do voice? No, I'll take it by voice vote. Okay, this is the cutoff debate. We need 2/3 majority. All those in favor of the cutoff debate, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. I believe it's 2/3 by an overwhelming majority, 2/3. All right, so now we're going to go back to the main motion as amended that's on the screen. And I don't believe, Pipe, I don't think you really need a summary. I think it's crystal clear to everybody, I'm sure.
Thank you all for
All
listening.
right. This is the main motion as amended.
Point of order, Carmel
Yes,
Drews,
Car-
Precinct 5. Are we
Carmel.
voting on whether or not to make these amendments to the motion, or are we
No.
voting on the motion itself?
I will have town council explain. Yeah, this is the main motion as amended. The main motion as amended. Okay. We did vote on the amendment.
No, we didn't, excuse me, point of order. Dave Lurie, Precinct 6, we did not. We didn't vote on the motion. The amendment, we did not vote. We always do the amendment, then it becomes the main motion. That's how
Okay,
we've
I'm
always
going to
done
have
it.
town council explain. Hang on.
So through you, Mr. Moderator, to the meeting. On last Wednesday, the main motion as amended failed. Tonight, this body reconsidered that, which wiped the slate clean and brought the article back in front of this body. The only motion that's been made under this article has been the amended motion, which is the main motion for you to consider tonight. That's the primary motion. It's the only substantive motion before the meeting. So while it was titled an amended motion, it's the only motion that was brought before this body. And so that becomes the primary motion, the main motion. So there's nothing that needs to be amended because that's the primary motion. So now that debate has been cut off and the primary motion is ready for a vote, you're voting the main motion, which was the original speaker's amended motion.
One last point of order, and that'd be it.
Then I guess my only question to council through you, Mr. Moderator, is then why did we vote to reconsider if the main motion wasn't in fact being reconsidered.
That's what we just did. We reconsidered Article 44. Okay. Well, I'm going to listen to town council. I think it's very clear to me. All right, now, so everybody's clear. It's the main motion now that we're considering, that we're going to vote on, is the one that Piper Solowinski made. It's on the screen, okay? Simple majority. Simple majority, okay? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. Please vote 1, 2, or 3. It's on the screen. 1, 2, or 3. Okay, the motion just before us passed, 95 yes, 28 no, 2 abstentions. Thank you all for voting. All right, now at this time, Mr. Feinberg. Go ahead, identify yourself.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to make 2 motions, please.
You're going to ask motions regarding that?
Yes, it's
The article?
regarding Article 44.
It was just voted. I have to call you out of order. You should have got up just a little earlier.
I thought I was supposed to wait until that amended article was voted on.
No, the article was discussed and voted on.
But how do you have 2 motions on the floor?
Well, the ones that you submitted was to amend possibly Piper's motion.
Yes.
Right, but we just voted on that. We completed that. I'm sorry you misunderstood that. All right, moving on. Okay, so that's the end of the annual town meeting, so I need a motion to dissolve the annual town meeting.
Mr. Moderator.
And, wait a minute, and resume the special. So
I would make a motion that we dissolve annual town meeting and resume special town meeting.
Okay, made by John Anzavino. Who seconded it?
Mr. Cole, Precinct 5.
Bob Cohen seconded it. Motion made to dissolve the annual town meeting and to resume the special town meeting. Simple majority, right?
Yeah.
This is simple majority. Okay, I wanted to ask for a voice motion here. Voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. The ayes have it. Declare that a vote. All right, now we go back to the special. And the special is the beginning of the book. Okay, starts on page 13, I hear. Yep, Article 1, deposits the stabilization fund. We all there? Page 13. Okay, now we are in the special town meeting. Okay, we good? All right. We're going to proceed with the business. I'm going to ask for the motion by Mr. Enochian, please.
That the town vote to deposit $2,073,476.80 to the stabilization fund, that to meet this appropriation, $2,073,476.80 be transferred from free cash.
Okay, seconded by Elliot Hansen. Okay, Mr. Enochian, can I have the Finance Committee report, please?
Finance Committee voted 13-0 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 1 as written in the warrant.
Thank you very much. Finance Director Elizabeth Zaleski for the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, to the members of the body. As we all know, we had an excessive amount of free cash certified this year, $12,722,000 and a few cents. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to build for the future for the town of Stoughton. So by approving this stabilization fund transfer, our request is to transfer over the $2,073,746.80. The balance before this transfer is $7,926,523.20. This will give us total stabilization fund balance of $10 million. Any questions?
Thank you, Biz. All right, time for technical questions on special town meeting Article 1. Anybody? Seeing none. Pro and con debate? Seeing none. All right, can I just, this is simple majority. Article 1 is simple majority. Okay, are we ready to vote? Please vote now, 1, 2, or 3. All right, motion passes, 118 yes, 3 no, and 3 abstentions. Let's move on. Next page. Article 2, Water Main Improvements, Phase 6. Mr. Nokin, can I have the the motion, please?
That the town vote to appropriate $1,500,000 to undertake maintenance, extraordinary maintenance, improvements, repairs, upgrades, modifications, and the like to the town-owned water mains, including but not limited to replacement of existing water mains, new valves, fire hydrants, customer water services, as applicable, professional engineering, architectural services, design, site preparation and demolition, installation, and all other incidental and related costs, and to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the select board, to borrow $1,500,000 under and pursuant to the provisions of General Law, Chapter 44, or any other enabling authority. This project will be exempt from the sunset bylaw.
Is there a second? Seconded by Carolyn Campbell, thank you. Finance Committee report, please.
Finance Committee voted 13-0 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 2 as written in the warrant.
Thank you very much. Municipal Operations Committee report, please. Can't hear you. Try again.
I'm trying
There
again.
you go. Thank you.
Municipal Operations Committee voted 5-0 to recommend Article 2 to town meeting for approval.
Thank you very much. Presentation, please. Please introduce yourself.
Keith Nastasia, Water and Sewer Superintendent. This is to continue with improving our aging infrastructure, eliminating asbestos cement-lined water mains and 80-plus-year-old cast iron pipe.
Okay, thank you. Now the time for technical questions. Any technical questions? Seeing none. Any technical questions? Anybody getting up? Please identify yourself.
Roberta Hyback, Precinct 7. On these water mains, we're only doing so many per year. I understand the town doesn't have a unlimited budget, but how many miles should we really be doing a year to replace the water mains in a perfect world?
Yeah, well, in a perfect world, it's so hard to determine because, like asbestos pipe, it's a lot more expensive working with that to work around it. So that costs a lot more than if you're working with just a ductile iron pipe, because you can just remove that with no hazardous mitigation that's involved in it. This past year, we did 2.5 miles of water main replacement, and that was $3.3 million. This right here, we're doing just under 3,000 feet, but we're doing a lot of services for $1.5 million. So there's not a dollar value, like per mile is X amount. It all varies, because size of pipe, if you're doing a 6-inch main versus an 18-inch main, an 18-inch main is going to cost 3 to 4 times as much.
No, that I realize. I guess my thought is the pipes are so old. Would it be ideal like I said, in a perfect world, to be able to, would it be possible, no money expense, to do 5 miles a year? Or is that seasonally?
If we were to try to do, we'll just say an excessive amount of miles of
Right.
water main, that could financially cripple us. Because we have 151 miles of water main, and over 70% of it is past, we'll just say, the life expectancy.
Okay.
Useful life, I should say.
Good enough, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy?
Peter Murphy, Precinct 2. On Turnpike Street, that pipe that's sitting on top of the sidewalk, is that ever going to be replaced? Or is that state?
Yeah, well, it's the state section of road, and it's, I guess there's been a lot of debate back and forth on it. It's over $43 million for the restoration of that road and
Well,
to
can
move
I
the water
just
main.
stop you there? I don't even think it's part of this.
Yep. It's not part of this.
It's not part of this.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for that clarification, Mr. Murphy. All right. Anybody else for technical questions on this? Carolyn Campbell?
Hi, Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4. You mentioned life expectancy. What is the life expectancy of our water mains?
The average life of water mains is can range between 50 and 75 years. 75 years is on the high end.
Okay, thank you. And then, do you know what area of water mains you're replacing with this article?
Yes. We're replacing Oriole Road, Robin Circle, Packard Street, Glen Street, Charles Avenue Extension, and then on Central Street from Lincoln to Turnpike, it's all the services that are on the old asbestos cement line pipe are going to be moved over to the new 12-inch ductile line.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Terry, please identify yourself, please.
Richard Terry, Precinct 8, through you, Mr. Moderator, to the Superintendent of Waterworks. Based on these repairs that you're proposing, what kind of savings do you anticipate in water lost through leakage?
Through leakage, did you say?
What kind of savings do you anticipate by repairing these water mains?
Well, we do leak detection every year, and these pipes, of these streets that we're doing, it's not to say that they've had more water main breaks in these areas than other areas. The first two roads, Oriole Road and Robin Circle, they're asbestos cement line pipe, which we're required to remove all of it by 2032. So this is just getting the last segments of the asbestos cement lined pipes out of the areas. And then the other streets is just very aging cast iron pipe mains that we're replacing because they're beyond their useful life.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. All right, seeing no other technical questions, let's move on to pro and con debate. Any pro and con debate? Seeing none, this is a borrowing, so it needs 2/3. Are we ready to vote? 2/3 required. Vote now. 1, 2, or 3?
Thank you.
All right, I didn't catch the last one. How many abstentions? Okay, 0 abstention. Okay, Article 2 passed by a clear 2/3 majority, 121 yes, 4 no, 0 abstentions. Declare that a vote. Let's move on to Article 3. That's on the bottom of page 14. Everybody there? Can I get the proposed motion, Mr. Nokian?
That the town vote to deposit $3,835,111.91 to the Building Stabilization Fund, and that to meet this appropriation, $3,835,111.91 be transferred from free cash.
Is there a second? Second by John Anzavino. Can I have the Finance Committee report, please?
Finance Committee voted 12-0 to 1 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 3 as written in the warrant.
Thank you very much. Biz, you have the presentation?
Yes, sir, Mr. Moderator, to the body. Our current building stabilization fund balance is $2,164,888.09. By depositing this $3,835,111.91 into the account, we will have a rounded off balance of $6 million into building stabilization. And this will help us in the future to deal with other building issues that may come up. We're trying to once again be conservative in our approach of the funding that we do have available. Questions?
Any questions, technical questions? Mr. DeFelice? You have to, please use the microphone. This is on Article 3, right?
Yeah, what I'm seeing is that, and I guess I'm wondering, how many stabilization accounts do we have?
Yes, sir. Through you, Mr. Moderator, to Mr. DeFelice, we have officially OPEB, building, fire, special ed, general stabilization, and the most recent established, which is capital equipment stabilization, for a total of 6. And that includes general as well.
Okay, that sounds like an awful lot of.
What's your question?
Are we in fact using these, and I'm not saying we don't need to be saving money for different things, but are we in fact setting up a system of pigeonholing monies for various, I guess, departments? It sounds like that's what we're doing. I mean, we could do that forever. God knows how many.
I need your question, though, Mr. DeFelice. Are we pigeonholing that? I don't know if anybody can. Anybody respond to that?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. In many ways, yes. Just like in our personal lives, where we set up house repair, college education, maybe for vacation, maybe for retirement. There are so many different priorities and challenges in our lives. The same thing is true in a municipality. Our buildings, many of them are 100 years old. Our equipment replacement costs sneak up on us, and we have to borrow money when we shouldn't have to borrow money. So although it's somewhat easy to get money out of these accounts, the body can do that anytime you choose. We're trying to save money for our top priorities. And I believe that's what this body asked us to do. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. All right, technical questions? Elliot Hansen, please.
Elliot Hansen, Precinct 1. How much interest does the town get with the deposits in the stabilization fund, and roughly how much interest do we pay when we borrow it?
When we borrow, it all depends on what the bid process is. The last few years, it's been at least 5%. And on the interest that we do receive, the stabilization funds go into an investment program. And with that investment program, we typically receive more than the 5% than we would get when we're borrowing. I do not have the exact figures in front of me, but this is something that I could get for you at a later date.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Mr. Terry, I think he was next. Oh, I'm sorry, and Carolyn Campbell.
Hi, Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4. I have a question about what we need to, in order to take the money out. Is this, if we're taking the money out of this building stabilization account for building, is it a simple majority?
Yes.
And can we take the money out for anything else?
No. Special purpose revenue funds are how these are defined.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you both. Mr. Terry? I'm not sure it's working. Give it a minute.
Richard Terry, Precinct 8, through you, Mr. Moderator, to whomever could answer the question. If we have building Y or building X that needs maintenance, it's not an emergency, but it is definitely in need, who makes that decision, and how is the money used or transferred to make those repairs?
The money can only be removed from these accounts with the approval of the town meeting. It cannot be removed in any other way. Should we have an issue, it will go through the capital needs program. And rather than funding from free cash or operating budgets, we'll be requesting that the funding comes from the building stabilization funds. For instance, let's say the roof blew off the building, insurance is only going to cover $100,000. The total cost is $150,000. We would ask the town meeting body to vote the extra $150,000.
My second question, follow-up, is if it's not an emergency like you just described, but a serious maintenance requirement, and it occurs 5 months from now, do we have to go to a special town meeting or an annual town meeting to have those monies allocated for that maintenance requirement?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you both. Any other technical questions? Seeing none, we're in the pro and con debate. Any pro and con debate? Mr. Collins, identify yourself.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I am definitely in favor of stabilization funds. We need to save money, put it into accounts that we need for the future. We have the money now, may not have it later on, but at least we have the money now to take care of things that may be in the future. I'm sure we all have different accounts that are at home for solar, water, mortgage, and everything else. So why not have the town do the same thing? I mean, it makes sense. You know, we have the money, free cash that we saved, and our finance director found all the things, accounts that we can close out and put into free cash. Let's do the right thing. Let's do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Anybody else? Pro and con debate? Seeing none. Simple majority, right? Simple majority. Are we ready to vote? Please vote now. 1, 2, or 3. Simple majority. Okay, Article 3 passes, 122 yes, 3 no, 0 abstentions. Thank you all for voting.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Top of page 15, Article 4. Everybody there? This is deposits to Special Education Stabilization Fund. Mr. Nokian, can I have the motion, please?
That the town vote to deposit $283,586 to the Special Education Stabilization Fund, and that to meet this appropriation, $283,586 be transferred from free cash.
Is there a second? Seconded by Carolyn Campbell. Can I have the Finance Committee report, please?
Finance Committee voted 13-0 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 4 as written in the warrant.
Thank you, sir. Next is Biz, you're presenting here.
Yes, sir, Mr. Moderator, to the body. We would like to transfer $283,586 to the Special Education Fund. It currently has $216,414. The purpose of this fund is to provide assistance for homeless transportation and SPED education. These are items that are not typically budgeted and require that the town put the money in. However, when the money gets spent, it can only get spent with the approval of the majority of the select board in agreement with the majority of the school committee.
Okay, thank you, Biz Zaleski. Technical questions section. Anybody have technical questions on Article 4? Seeing none, pro and con debate, Article 4. Seeing none? Simple majority. Okay, this is a simple majority. We have the, okay, please vote now, 1, 2, or 3. All right, Article 4 passes, 119 yes, 5 no, 1 abstention. Thank you all for voting. Declare that a vote. Let's move on. Right in the middle of the page, Article 5, deposit to other post-employment benefit trust fund. Mr. Anokian, can I have the motion, please?
That the town vote to deposit $143,040.92 to the OPEB trust fund, and that to meet this appropriation, $143,040.92 be transferred from free cash.
Seconded by Elliot Hanson. Finance Committee report, please.
Finance Committee voted 13 to 0 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 5 as written in the warrant.
Thank you, sir. Elizabeth Zaleski, Finance Director, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, to the body. Currently, we have $456,959.08 in the OPEB trust account. At the annual town meeting this year, we voted $100,000 in addition to go into the account, which will give us $556,959.08. At the special town meeting, we're requesting $143,040.92, which will make that trust fund balance at an even $700,000. And it is important to note that this is something that when we go for our bond rating and bids, that people look for how much are we putting away in this type of stabilization fund. Last year, we only put away $10,000. And that did not look good for our financial reporting. We're trying to make sure that we increase our funding reserves with the rating agencies so we can get better rates and essentially more bids when we're going out to bid for our projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, technical question section. Anybody for technical questions? I don't see anybody rising. So let's move on. Pro and con debate. Mr. David Laurie.
So David Lurie, Precinct 6. This is an article that ordinarily we were only putting in a couple $1,000s, like $10,000 a year. It was always a low number, and that's because the bond market that looked at each town, they were just looking for recognition that you know that you have this very large obligation to pay millions and millions of dollars to these pension accounts that are handled by Norfolk County in our case. But the first time in the 9 years that I've been going to the ATFC, which is the Association of Finance Committees, town finance committees, they train you on this stuff, and they brought in experts on bonding. And I just wanted to let everybody know that for the first time, the bond market is actually coming forward and is telling the town specifically, this is the expectation that you should be contributing to your OPEB. You can't just take a token amount anymore. So it's a larger number than we're used to seeing, but we're not expected to pay millions, but this is a threshold that the bond market would like to see our town do. It'll make an impact that way. I encourage everybody to vote yes on this.
Thank you. Anybody else for pro and con debate? Seeing none, this is a simple majority. Are we ready to vote? Please vote now, 1, 2, or 3. All right, Article 5 passes, 118 yes, 3 no, 0 abstentions. Declare that a vote. Thank you all for voting. Next up on the bottom of the page, Article 6, close prior year fund deficits. Can I have the motion, please, Mr. Nokian?
That the town vote to deposit $90,809.92 close fund deficits, and that to meet this appropriation, $90,809.92 be transferred from free cash and applied as noted below, or take any other action relative thereto.
Okay. Okay, who seconded it? Cynthia Walsh, thank you. Can I have the Finance Committee report, please?
Finance Committee voted 13 to 0 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 6 as written in the warrant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nokian. Elizabeth Zaleski, Finance Director, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, to the body. This is a different type of article that you have not seen before. Each year when we close out our books and we go to have our free cash certified, we will have our free cash reduced by deficits that are on account. So the deficits that I felt as though we could satisfy with this free cash total $90,809.92. They range from bulletproof vests, emergency management grants, traffic enforcement grants. So these were essentially overbooked at one point, but the revenue may have gone into another account. So we're trying to clean up past mistakes to bring us into a nice, clean set of books for the future. And once we do this, it will no longer be showing up on our free cash as a reduction. Any questions?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Technical questions. Pat Colburn, please.
Pat Colburn, Precinct 4. You might have just answered it, if I could just verify. So this is basically a mistake? Because we're not allowed to, I thought, overspend items, so I couldn't understand how we could have a deficit if we're not allowed to overspend.
These accounts are typically grant accounts. These are not budgetary accounts. So grant accounts do follow a little bit different laws. Your grants will typically be reimbursable grants. And when you have 293 grant accounts just in one segment of the book, all have the same name, it's very easy to have mistakes. So that's why we're cleaning up the books, just like with the sunset clause. We're cleaning up different accounts so that we have a nice, clean set of books.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. Anybody else for technical questions? Seeing none, let's move on to pro and con debate. Don't see anybody rising. Okay, this is simple majority. Are we ready to vote? Please vote now. 1, 2, or 3. All right, Article 6 passes, 112 yes, 4 no, and 1 abstention.
120.
I would say, hey, I misread that. My apologies. 120 yes. Mr. Jim?
Jim Guerin, Precinct 6. A point of information, Mr. Moderator.
Sure.
When will we know that we have enough in these stabilization accounts?
It's not related right now. Where the time for questioning has passed.
Well, it's a point of information for me.
Well, let's see if, Biz, could you be able to help the gentleman out? Maybe we discuss it afterwards?
We can discuss it afterwards unless someone else would like to know the projected answer. Yes, no?
I mean, then I will know, but the rest of the people
All
won't
right,
know.
we'll make it quick. Typically, you want, in your general stabilization fund, you want roughly 5% of your budget. 5% of your budget in this case is $7 million in your regular stabilization budget. Every year, you want to contribute more into your reserve funds. The more money you have in the reserve, the more positive your cash flow can be, and the more positive it is for when we go to borrow with Moody's. As we go along, this was an unusual year. We got an extra $7-8 million in free cash. It was prudent to put money away. These will be reviewed every single year as to how much do we have to spend for capital, how much do we recommend to put away for OPEB, et cetera. It's not a finite amount.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for both. All right, let's move on to Article 7, which is in the middle of page 17, transfer the South Elementary project. Mr. Anokian, can I have the motion, please?
That the town vote to transfer and appropriate $1,461,997.85 to the South School Elementary School project in order to defray the actual borrowing costs of the project, and that to meet this appropriation, $1,461,997.85 be transferred from the project as noted below. Would you like me to read these, Mr. Moderator, or just as
No.
written in the warrant?
As printed in the warrant's fine.
As printed in the warrant.
Who seconded it? Cynthia Walsh. Thank you, Cynthia. Can I have the Finance Committee report, please?
Finance Committee voted 13-0 to approve and recommend to town meeting Article 7 as written in the warrant.
Okay, Elizabeth Zaleski, please.
Yes, what this is when you voted the South Elementary School project, it now allows us to transfer funding that came from the high school. The high school project currently has a balance of $1,011,038.48. We have to transfer funding like this that's left over from a debt excluded project into a debt excluded project. And in addition, the West School doors and windows, that is a $450,959.37. That is not a debt excluded project, but it is a borrowing project. We need to take the funding that's left over and move it into like projects. So this will give us $1,461,997.85 to start off the project. The project, I believe, is $114 million. So from the accounting standpoint, we're going to be reducing the amount of borrowing we're going to have to take. We're not going to have to take the 114. We're going to have to take $1 million less, 113. So that's how the transfers going into these this school project will work. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Before I take your motion back, any technical questions? Seeing none, let's go in pro and con debate. Pat?
Pat Colburn, Precinct 4. I submitted an amended motion that was on the virtual table as well as on the table. Essentially, what I'm doing is, hopefully it's a friendly amendment, it's very brief. What I wanted to do was when Article 34 was dismissed for the police station, that was going to be paid for with $675,000 in free cash. That would have been left unallocated. So what I'm amending in this motion is that we make two changes. The top line of the amended motion is that the town vote to transfer and appropriate $2,136,997.85. And I added the last part of the bottom sentence, and that $675,000 be transferred from free cash. Essentially what I'm trying to do is, rather than leave that money unallocated, I'm trying to share the wealth with the taxpayers, many of whom are struggling. I know we have so many we're already holding back for next year, but this was really the last article, and it's a perfect one. So if we can lower what we borrow, hopefully the taxpayers will get a little bit of relief.
Okay, seconded by John Enzamino. All right, any technical questions? This is on just the amendment now, okay? Motion has been made, the amended motion has been made and seconded, so that's on the floor now. So technical questions on the amendment that we see before us on the screen. Lisa Lyons?
Lisa Lyons, Precinct 2. So I just want to confirm for the audience at home that any reduction...
What's your question, though?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, because it sounds like you
Bob,
want to...
just stop it, Bob, okay?
No.
Just give me a minute and I can ask the question.
Ask a question, I can take the question. Go ahead.
Okay, well...
Go ahead, I'll allow some time. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So the question is any reduction that we're actually making here, does that actually, when the taxpayers get assessed for this debt exclusion, the amount, is that actually reducing the assessment for everyone in town? That's the question.
Thank you. Can you answer that, Biz?
Yes, sir. Two things, if I may. I know we want to transfer over $675,000. It is absolutely up to the body. I don't recommend it, and the reason that I don't recommend it is you want to increase your closeout during FY '25 by leaving the $675 on the table. It doesn't go unallocated. When we have more money sitting in our undesignated fund balance, that also gives Moody's, the bonding agents, and the bidders more positive that, yes, we just increased this reserve to a little bit higher. And when we go to borrow, the whole intention of this is that we will not be borrowing the total amount. And the spreadsheets will be maintained by the capital building committee for this project, being the South School. We have a project of $113 million. Right off the top, what we need to do is take $1.4 million and reduce that down. Now you can borrow sorry, I lost my numbers. You can borrow $112 million versus $113. But we also have the MSBA funding. Another aspect to this project that we're working on right now, we are anticipating our final payment from the high school project, which has been a long time coming. And the approximate reimbursement is going to be another $2 million. Once we receive that $2 million, a vote will come back to town meeting to take that $2 million that came in on the high school project and again transfer that over to the South School project. So now you're going to have another $2 million in cash on hand. So that's going to bring you down to what, 111 or $110 million. So that's the intention of everything we're doing. We're trying to make sure that the taxpayers are not being borrowed up to the hilt and taxed up to the hilt for the project.
Okay, Town Manager Tom Calto would like to make a statement.
You just heard the kind of explanation Mark and I hear every day. And we say, what? She's so smart. It's this simple. If we leave the money in the undesignated fund, we can still put it to reduce the debt in the future on the school project. This body has that power at any time. But if we leave it in the undesignated fund, when Moody's does their audit, and they see that we've got all these stabilization accounts, and we still have all this money in our undesignated fund, it lowers our risk profile, which lowers our cost of borrowing, which will lower the cost of building the South School. It's a placeholder. Only this body can spend that money, and you may choose to do that. But let us go through the bonding evaluation in an attempt to lower our interest rate on the cost of borrowing for the school. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Through
you have a second question?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to thank both the finance director and the town manager for those extended explanations. They were very helpful. And then, so I just wanted to clarify, does that reduced borrowing in fact directly correlate to a reduction that will be assessed to each taxpayer? Is that assessment, that debt exclusion for each household determined based on the amount of borrowing for the project, or is it on something else?
For this project, correct.
That's a correct statement. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Next up is Eric Coleman.
Can you bring this up a bit? Hello?
Go ahead, Eric, I can hear you.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, to the town manager, we've got $675,000 that was supposed to be for the police station. Is that going to come up in the fall, and will we need this in the fall? Well, that's question one.
Mr. Tisdale's the expert on that, Eric. The reason it was put off is we're still doing the feasibility study, and Mark made a business decision that we're not going to spend any more money on schematic design until we complete the feasibility study. It would be irresponsible to bring that before the body.
Should this be ready in the fall, through you to the assistant town manager?
Mark says yes, it would be ready in the fall.
Mark? It will be in the fall?
Yes, Yes.
So we're going to be spending it later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mr. Anzavino.
John Anzavino, Precinct 4. Here's my question. On beginning of town meeting, we were given a chart of how much money was out there. And on free cash, there's just shy of $1 million still sitting on the table. So my question, that's my question. Am I reading that correctly, that you already have $1 million in holdback?
Just give her a moment to look
Sure.
that up.
I'm just looking at the chart they passed out.
looking it up.
Oh. Let me get that for you, John. Thank you very much, because I can go down, I don't know if I'll get up. I know.
Mr. Moderator, to Mr. Anzavino and the members of the town meeting, we started out with a remaining balance of $996,000. By not utilizing the $675,000, we will now have a closeout to undesignated fund balance, which will help us start our free cash calculations for 2026 of $1,671,596.44.
All right, so the answer is there is still almost $1 million in undesignated money. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else? Marina?
Ryans, Precinct 7. Can you tell us when are you planning to borrow money and when the taxpayers will start to the repayment?
We borrow money based on the progression of the progress of the school. So once the construction project begins, we will be getting a cash flow statement on when we need cash, how much we need cash, and that's when we begin the borrowing. Once we begin the borrowing, then it's going to start hitting to the debt exclusion. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, it all depends how quickly. I believe we won't have the school up and running for fiscal year or school year 28, is that correct?
29, I think.
29, fiscal year 29 opening. So as it progresses, then it will be small increments going into debt exclusion, and as it closes out, it will get bigger. But we also have MSBA funds that are going to offset the borrowing. So our borrowing right now, let's say it's 66 million, I think was the estimate. So now our borrowing is going to be down by what we can put in. So that will bring us down to probably 63 million of borrowing versus 66.
Second question. So 66 millions plus interest for 30 years is going to double the amount. Am I correct? It's going to come to 120 millions in 30 years for taxpayers to pay.
We have not come up with the repayment schedule yet, and I would hate to make that type of estimate without all the figures in play.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Carolyn Campbell, please.
Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4. You mentioned, excuse me, Mr. Moderator, you mentioned that there's an audit done, and it was, it was by Moody's to have, and it would look good to have this money on our books. When would that audit take place?
Every year we go through our audit when we're closing our books. So when we go out to borrow again, we have to provide, it's called a POS, position of statement, which is a booklet this big. So every time we borrow, we provide them all of that information, and then that information goes out to the bidders. It's a pretty big book.
So when does that all take place, is what I'm asking?
Once we go out to borrow.
When's the audit take place that you mentioned?
And the audit
Yes. You mentioned an audit, I believe, earlier.
Oh, yeah, a regular fiscal year audit.
Yeah, when does that take place?
It takes place at the end of the fiscal year. It can take anywhere between 6 and 9 months to complete an audit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can we move on to pro and con debate?
Do I need to summarize or anything? That was just my question.
I didn't hear you.
Do I need to summarize or anything?
Not just yet.
Okay.
Are we all done with technical questions? Pro and con debate? I can't hear what you're saying.
Recognizing me?
I'm recognizing
Okay.
you, Dave. John, did you want a pro and con?
Walk across the hall.
Okay. Then we'll go to Mr. Anzavino. Go ahead, John.
As I indicated, there's almost $1 million left unallocated now. We're looking to put the 675 towards the school. That helps everybody. We say, if you reduce your borrowing, you'll reduce that debt. I think the million or just shy of the million on the table is sufficient, and I would urge everybody to vote in favor of this to put that 675 towards the school. They were willing to spend it for the police station, and if you need something for the police station in the fall, we were just told we have $6 million in that fund now, plus the $10 million in the regular stabilization. I strongly urge you to vote yes on this amendment.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Dave Laurie, please identify yourself.
David Lurie, Precinct 6. If it was about a year ago and this motion came up, I'd probably agree with the maker of the motion on this. But something interesting happened in Finance Committee was I recognized year after year, and I understand why people think you need to spend every dollar into stabilization at the end of town meeting. It's something we've done forever. It's what we're used to. The thing that I discovered over the past year was that the advice of the finance director in saying you need to stop thinking like that because the undesignated fund balance is going to help us, just like they said. And the next thing that happened was we saw this giant surge of free cash. So I started to wonder, well, okay, wait a minute, is this something that our town is all of a sudden going to be pouring in millions of dollars every year in free cash? Look at this, it's a bonanza. We'll be able to fund anything we need. Money from heaven is going to keep coming in. But that's not the truth. The fact is that we drained, it was a good move. I'm not here to argue about, should we have gotten all of these closeouts done in order to really come in with a giant number of free cash. That's not the point. The point is that we have to rethink how we go about our budgeting. We're not going to see these massive free cash numbers like we're used to seeing. That means that if we don't have this money sitting on the books ready for the next fiscal year, which will show up in November, it'll be a recap, and this number will be the first dollar in before the turnbacks come in. That means we're going to be buoyed by all the dollars we're not going to otherwise see that we're used to seeing. I encourage everybody to vote against this motion so that we could get this money added to the undesignated fund balance so we have more money to work with on buying these shiny objects that we have to buy every year, and we don't end up having to borrow for them. We don't want to get in the habit of borrowing for everything in the future because we're denying the budget the chance to pay for things with cash. Please put this money aside for future free cash allocations, not on putting it into this fund that has to do with the school. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for your comments. Lisa Lyons, you're next.
Lisa
Then Vaughn.
Lyons, Precinct 2. In this instance, I think we should listen to our finance director and town manager. This is the right move on this, and we are already putting money toward the South School. So I recommend everybody vote down the amendment, but for Article 2nd main motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Next up, Vaughn Anokian, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to thank my colleague, Pat Colburn, for coming up with this amended motion. I think this is a great idea. By putting this extra money toward the South School now, it'll reduce the borrowing costs over the next 30 years. This is an opportunity to save taxpayers for the next 30 years. This is a good idea. I urge town meeting to vote yes on this. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Kirby?
Robert Kirby, Precinct 6. Hello. Robert Kirby, Precinct 6. I am also not in favor of the amendment, but rather the original motion. I think that leveraging the money in the free cash unallocated category will pay us larger dividends in the sense of a lower interest rate over 30 years. The return on that is going to be much more substantial than putting it, in an immediate kind of gratifying way to just reduce the amount we're borrowing. I think just getting the overall interest rate down on the entire note is going to have more of an overall impact in the end. So I'm not in favor of the amendment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Carolyn Campbell?
Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4. I guess I am at the wrong mic, but I am in favor of this amendment, and this is why. I mean, I understand what the finance director has said, that we want to have our, we want to have undesignated funds, have like, show that we have some money there as well, so that not everything is tied up in the stabilization fund. We have cash on hand. However, and I understand that people have said that, we'd rather have that money there, so it's going to reduce the cost of our borrowing on the school project going forward. Realistically, what this does, adding this $675,000, gives the project cash to use on hand next year. It is not likely that the school project is going to go out to any borrowing until at least the following year. So it's not going to make much of a difference what our undesignated fund is in this July, when we're not going out to borrow for the South School till the earliest next year, because we have design projects that we have to have plans built and everything else before they start construction. And then the big borrowing will come in a couple more years as we get further into the construction project. And then, likely the long-term borrowing will be done towards the end of the project, that's when we're going to want to make sure we have the undesignated funds to help our bond rating, then to get the interest on the long-term funds. I think whether or not, what the undesignated fund is in July of 2025 is going to have no impact on the borrowing for the school project. So I'm voting in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We heard a lot of debate. I'm going to take one more.
Mr. Mark.
Phil Connors, Precinct 2. I find the alliances for and against this amendment very confusing, and I don't know what to do, but I'd like to move the previous question.
Oh. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Town Manager, did you want to say something first?
Just to clarify. If I
Sure,
may.
go ahead. Clarification.
Mr. Moderator, through you to the body, I am, just so you know, I'm your town manager, I'm not a citizen, so I have limited authority. I am all in favor of this money going to the schools. The superintendent and I have talked about this at length. All in favor of this money going to the schools. It's a matter of when do we put it into that account. If it sits in the undesignated fund as we go through our audit, and then we go through the the Moody's review, it shines a bright light on our financial stability. If we put it in the school account right now, we're not going to use it for 2 years. We lose that opportunity to show our fiscal conservatism, which is what Moody's referenced this time last year, this town's financial conservatism. So I just want to go on record, and I know Biz joins me in this, I know Mark joins me in this. We're all in favor of it going to the school. We just want to have a snapshot in time, our balance sheet, if you will, when Moody's looks at us and says, man, this town is really on the go. We're going to lower our risk rating. We're going to lower our cost of borrowing. And then when we start borrowing in 2 years, very easy to put that money back into this account, which is what I would recommend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coulter. All right, the motion's on the floor to move the question. And we had a second. Who seconded that? Bob Cohn? Okay, I'm going to take a voice vote to move the question. That means cut off debate. Need a 2/3 majority. All those in favor to cut off debate, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. I declare that a vote, clearly 2/3. All right, now this is on the amended motion that you see before us, okay? Pat, did you want to quickly summarize? Very quick?
I totally understand where the finance director and the town manager are coming from. Their job is to represent the business of the town. What I'm just not hearing enough of is the citizens of the town and the taxpayers. I also find the alliances really odd tonight, and I'm in the upside down world, but
I don't know.
I just don't feel like this money might still be available in 2 years. I think we will buy that nice, shiny, bright thing, and I'm just trying to find a way to say in a windfall year, we recognize you taxpayers for all that you've done. But whatever you decide is fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is on the amendment that we have before the screen. Just simple majority, correct? Simple majority. Just on the amendment. Please vote now, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, amendment fails, 47 yes, 74 no, 3 abstentions. Now we're back to the main article. The main proposed motion. Okay, I think we're ready to vote. We good? Okay. This is simple majority. Let's just have it up on the screen. Just give us a moment to get it ready for the screen. What's up? Please vote now. Simple majority, 1, 2, or 3. Motion passes 117 yes, 7 no, 0 abstentions.
Thank you.
All right, can I get it? That's it for the evening. Can I get a motion to dissolve the special town meeting? Lisa Lyons seconded by Carolyn Campbell. By voice vote, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you all for attending town meeting this year. Have a great evening.
I'm taking all the stuff out.